Well, hey everyone, I guess I'm live. I don't know. Hopefully I am. Hopefully you can see me. It's hard to say here. I'm going to try to shrink this down. There we go. And I think we're live. So if we are, yeah, it looks like I got 6 people here. Hopefully you're hearing me. Hello. Hello world. There we go. Michael Root. You look tired. Yeah. I am tired, man. It's been a heck of a long weekend, but it is what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that out. Let's see if that works. There we go. Yeah. Andrew Wilson, hello. How are you, my friend? Jordan B. Howdy, everyone. Welcome to Farpoint Farms. It has been an interesting 3 days working on the farm. Lots of mechanical work, lots of farming work, lots of critter work. The good stuff. Tim Surgeon saying, yep, welcome to the club. And yeah, I'm here, so I have nothing going on. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Andrew Wilson saying that the audio is good. I'm sure that I'm lagging way behind here. I don't know how it's working. It used to be when I did the Farpoint ones that I could do like pretty much like a freaking live, and there would be very little bouncing around as far as like delays. But from the looks of things, it looks like there's quite a bit of delays going on here. There's nothing I can do about that, boys and girls, but what I can do is entertain you for as long as my energy holds up. Eric D, hello from California. Hello to you, sir. Morgan Rushman's gaming channel. Hey, Eric. Good to see you, my friend. So, ask away. I'm here. I have a whole lot of nothing to talk about. I've got the CB on. Skip was rolling all day right up until now. I've been working outside, getting some projects done. I was working on the tractor. Then I was working on my riding mower. Then a guy came up and bought the moped. I had the video here about a week ago maybe, or heck, it might have been this week that I posted the moped video. Somebody came up from out of state and picked that thing up. So the moped is no more. Goodbye, Tomos. So that was kind of bittersweet, but I'm glad this is going to a good home. He said his whole family is going to take mopeds out and ride, so I wish him the best on that idea. So Fat Paul saying hello, guys. Hello to you, Fat Paul. How you doing tonight? So that's it. I made some videos today for the channel. 1 automotive channel, 2 tractor videos, and another cooking video. So I hope you all like cooking videos because there's going to be more cooking videos. Because as somebody said in the comment section, there's always something cooking at Farpoint Farms. Michael Roots chiming in. I started a new career not long ago. I noticed we ship a lot of pig vaccines to North Carolina. Do you have a lot of hog farms out there? Well, in the mountains, not so much. We're mostly dairy and cow, meat farms. But down by the coast and in the flatlands, yes, indeed. I think we're actually like number 2 or 3 in the country for producing hog products. And I think we also are like number 1 for turkeys, which is kind of interesting. Sometimes it's a little thing. Cat Lover saying, hey guys, happy Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to you, Cat Lover. And Zach Robinson, greetings and happy holiday weekend. Greetings to all of you. My chair is collapsing. There we go. So, yeah. So, happy holidays, yeah. Memorial Day is always supposed to be about, remembering veterans and their sacrifice for us, remembering veterans that, doesn't necessarily be the ultimate sacrifice that veterans are putting up with or putting out. Just the fact that you served, I served, and that was a couple years out of my life that I was active duty, that I was away from family and kind of missed what was going on in this part of the world. So Memorial Day should just be noticing that there's a lot of us out there that served and maybe shaking hands and saying thanks. And so I thank all people out there that did that, and I hope that you did too. Take that moment and do that. So Cat Lover says, I love cooking videos. I will be uploading one making Texas sheet cake if anyone wants to know how to do it. Cat Lover sounds great. I'd love to watch that. Yeah, I don't know, man. I used to really dig doing the cooking videos. I did the hot dogs and the Spam and the Poor Man's Cookbook, chicken and rice, and I think I did another Poor Man's Cookbook, and then kind of got away from it because they weren't big sellers. They weren't big sellers right up front, but then I realized, I don't care. I kind of find a passion out of it. I want to do that. If it's a passion, it's a passion. So I'm going to be making more of those, and hopefully you'll get a kick out of them. I did that, vegetarian one last week. I've got one coming up this week for pickled hot dogs, which is kind of a local cuisine. And then we get into some more serious ones. I'm going to do another Poor Man's Cookbook, canned ham. That's something that it's kind of plain Jane, but you can mix it up and make it better. So I hope you'll enjoy that. And then I've got a couple of MRE reviews I'm thinking about doing, because God knows I ate a bunch of those when I was younger. So that's I think that doing MRE reviews when you've ate MREs for weeks on end gives you something special. So I think I qualify for that. Anyway, Morgan Russman saying, sorry, Eric, Morgan Russman's gaming channel is another channel that I have. I must have neglected to switch accounts. Oh, Morgan, so who are you on your other account, man? I'm glad that you have double accounts. That's cool. Cat Lover saying, thank you for serving. Thank you, Cat Lover. I appreciate that. Farmer Boy 457, thanks for your service. Hey, man, no worries, my friend. I did it, and I would do it again. Cat Lover's chiming in. I think there's a lot of young people that need to know how to cook, even the simple videos. And it's true, and that's kind of what the Poor Man's Cookbook was all about, is that I was like living out west and single, and then I moved here to North Carolina, not to the mountains, but North Carolina. Was single, living in a little single wide, and man, I was starving, dude. I weighed like 135. Now, granted, I could use to lose about 40 pounds right now, but still, I was eating garbage, man. I was going to Wendy's, or I wasn't eating at all, and just eating garbage food, microwave TV dinners, stuff like that. And not that there's anything wrong with any of that, but you do that nonstop, and eventually you're not well. So I took a chance and decided to start trying to figure out some things. And of course, I was poor, and I mean like dirt poor. So eating like canned hams and canned spams and canned green beans. Yeah, again, probably not the best things for you, but at least you could take those basic components and make a better meal for yourself. And it kind of made a passion in my life. I learned how to doctor up stuff and make it better, and so that was kind of awesome. And I've always been in love with that. Now, as far as like spam, I can't get enough spam, so I love making spam recipes, and there'll probably be a bunch of videos on that. Hot dogs, holy cow, man. I'm like, hot dogs are my crack, man. I love hot dogs. I know they're not good for you, but there's so many good hot dogs out there, skin on, all beef, just, regional hot dogs. In fact, I'm getting ready to have some shipped in from up north, because, there's a lot of like fancy hot dog joints up in Jersey and Connecticut, New York, and those places. I found a few that will actually ship, so I'm going to be doing that, and I'm looking forward to that. So if you dig the cooking videos, they're coming. M-Light says, why don't you get a ham radio license? I don't know, man. I used to have a ham radio license. I let it expire. I really ought to get another ham radio license. I actually went to Hamfest or Rarsfest and was looking at, getting another radio. But dang, it's expensive to get back into that mess. I did pick up like I won't say an all band, but I got like a scanner / CB antenna. It also is good for transmitting on several bands in ham. I'm going to put that on the roof of the house. I'm going to take the RCI 2970 that I got and move that inside the house and kind of have like a setup in there for the nights that I'm working inside. So and maybe eventually I'll get like a long wire antenna and try to get back into it. But cost. That's why I haven't bothered to get my license. So. This says Jordan B saying he has a tri-tip smoking on the. Oh man, good for you, dude. Good, Jordan B. You need to make a cooking channel, because every time we talk, you're cooking up some good stuff. So I'm kind of jealous, to be honest with you. Michael Root saying Five Guys is where it's at. I've eaten there, I think, once, and very expensive, but good food, good French fries, and a good fat burger. I mean, if I'm gonna pay too much for food, it better be a lot of it. And so Five Guys got that covered. I feel like at least they're not shorting me on how much I can eat. Farm Boy 457. If you're ever here, Farmer Boy or 457, that's my handle name. Cool, man. Well, I think I actually have heard 457 out there, but I can't remember if it was Farm Boy. So I've got the radio on. Skip died like 15 minutes before we came live, but it'll come back. So if we get a chance, I'll be on 38 lower side band. We'll give it a shot. Michael Root saying truth, it's overpriced, but it is the best burger. I'd say it's pretty good. I don't know. It's hard to say what the best one is. There's actually, in Tennessee, there's a joint that's more known for its hot dogs. What the heck is the name of that place? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. Oh man. Anyway, it's a hot dog joint, but they have one at the Johnson City Mall, and I had a burger one day, and I had like 2 hot dogs and a burger. Holy cow, that was a great burger, man. Like, not homemade, nothing special, but just good, man. Just good, filling, fat burger, and I was digging it. So if I can think of the name, man. It's just a regional Tennessee name, man. So anyway. Let's see here. I'm like saying, oh, come on, get on the radio. CB is silly. No, it's not silly, man. It's fun, man. I love CB. I grew up on CB. CB is where it was at back in the 70s and 80s, and Hey, I'm a one-man train trying to get it back on track. You know what I mean? Let's see here. Go, Hewlett Baker. Good to see you, man. Good evening, everyone. Good to see you too, man. Jason Kane, Eric, Rob, brother. Nice to see you live. Was reluctant to chime in. Still ashamed about the delay on the other thing. Did it for Woody. Was putting in the time. Don't worry about that, Jason. So me and Jason, me and Rock and Woody, we've been talking, and that thing seems to be a go. We got in touch with Boz, and we'll get into that. But as a fact, I talked to him about a couple hours ago, this morning while I was working, and we're working on it. So no worries there, my friend. Michael Root saying going to Nashville in September, good deal. Hopefully I can remember the name of this place before the show is over so I can let you know where good hot dogs and burgers are kept. Morgan Russman, a cooking channel and a conspiracy theory is the other two. Morgan, give me the names of all these, man. I don't know. I love good conspiracy channel, man. I love good conspiracy theories because most conspiracies turn out to be true. And that's why they don't want you talking about them anymore. Ding! Diller Oberon, happy Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to you, brother. 9mm AR man, choo-choo, one-man train. That's right. I hope you got my message, AR man, about the SSB radio. Drawing a blank lately, man, but I'm still hunking in there for you. Do you have plans on maybe opening a second channel dedicated cooking? I could, Morgan. You know, here's what's weird. So, and I actually defaulted to other YouTubers when it came to this. So, if you know my channel, you know that I do tractor stuff and cooking stuff and CB stuff and ham stuff and a bunch of other stuff all at the same time. And it all kind of piles into one channel. It tends to work for me, but for a lot of folks out there, they have like channels that are singularly focused. And what I found from splitting off from this channel and making the Midnight Cafe channel is that it is an awful lot of work to do one channel, and it's a whole lot more work to do two. So I applaud you for being able to do 4 channels. To me, it just seems like so much work to try to make, social media accounts for these channels, to keep up with emails for the different email addresses for all these channels, and answer the comments on the videos, and on and on and on and on. So where it feels like just from the Farpoint Farms and Midnight Cafe channels, that was even feeling like a bridge too far, which is why we're changing that, and I won't get into it completely, but if you go to the Midnight Cafe page, you'll see that we're going to be going back to where we belong, which is radio only on that, but we've got a connection to do live radio, so we're going to be doing that and the nice thing there is that we'll be doing real music again, bumper music, and being able to do copyrighted music and stuff, because it's terrestrial radio and internet radio, so looking forward to that. But again, that's kind of like I'll be promoting the channel or the radio station and not so much my own individual work on it. The Midnight Cafe channel will still exist, but it'll be more of a just a reminder channel. So, and we'll do some live shows on there too, I'm sure. So there you go. Fat Paul, I'm on CB, very quiet. I'm booked onto the Amateur Radio Foundations course later this year. Good for you, man. In the UK, good. So again, like I need to get my license renewed, or I don't even know if they still have it in the system. I'll probably just need to start from scratch, but I'm okay with that. So it's on my bucket list or things to do, but gosh, the life of a homesteader is quite a life. I'll say that my time is pretty bad right now. It's about zeroed out. Amalite's asking, do you use Roundup and GMO seeds on the farm? As far as seeds, I do not use GMO seeds. We use heritage breeds for tomatoes and cucumbers and corn. We actually aren't growing any corn this year, but I don't know if there are GMO seeds for like cucumbers and stuff. But I mean, we look and we try to get all heritage breeds, so I'd imagine they're not GMO. As far as Roundup, up until like 2 years ago, I was using Roundup. And there's that feeling in the back of your head that you kind of know that Roundup is definitely bad for your health and definitely bad for the environment. But damn if it doesn't work well. So you kind of hedge those bets. So last time I used it was on the driveway. I've switched to another product that doesn't have that glyphosate or whatever the heck it's called. Probably still toxic as all get out, but it'll take them another couple years to figure out that that's killing us as well. So there you go. Cat Lover's asking, are you in MA? Where about? I grew up outside of Boston. My father lives in Falls River now. John Fugate, happy Memorial Day. Like the content of the Farm Channel. Good video. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. You know, I like getting feedback from people. Most of the time I conversate with people. It's in the comments, and I know a lot of times I'll respond and maybe I'll get another response, but it tends to drop off because I get so many messages a day. The conversations get lost in the mix. I actually get on an average day, I get about 40 or 50 comments. On a day that maybe a video has been featured, or I don't know how it works with YouTube's algorithm, I might get 150 comments, and I do try to answer all of them. So if you don't hear back from me on something, it's not that I'm ignoring you. I really do try to go out of my way to answer every comment. So just their heads up on that one. Hewlett Baker saying sideband CB is the way to go. I agree. I mean, for the amount of money I have into my radio setups, I get a ton of use out of them. And I just don't know if I were to spend several $1,000s to get a massive ham setup, that I would really get that much more use out of it than what I get out of my sideband. You know, I got the unit in 980, got the RCI I'm going to be moving inside, and other radios come and go in my life. But the biggest, stick for me is the stick on the roof, the Solarcon 2000. Or Max 2000, that's really where it's at for me. So I'm enjoying it, man. I don't know. Ham, I'm sure, is great. It just, I don't know. 2 meters so dead here. 10 meters pretty dead here. 11 meter has a lot more activity where I'm at, so I'm kind of just happy with that. Morgan Russman claiming how true it is about conspiracies. What do you think about the whole 9/11 deal? Planes or government done? I think, man, that gets deep real quick. My opinion is that they probably knew something was up and they were watching. And I'm not saying that the government knew what was up and was watching. I'm saying that somebody knew what was up and watching. I honestly don't think that the government we see is in charge of anything at this point. And we kind of see that in the news. We kind of see that the news is its own political organization at this point. So it's pretty scary what's going on in this country. As far as what exactly happened, we'll never know. And I don't know that it matters anymore. They used it as a catalyst to do, to get rid of a lot of freedoms, and it worked. So good for them. So next thing they did, right after the 2016 election, look at that. They used that as a catalyst to do a lot more censorship and a lot more control. So again, anytime that anything doesn't go the way they want it to, they use things as a catalyst to change that. So kind of a conspiracy in itself, but honestly, probably a pretty accurate one. 9mm AR, man. Roundup toxic? I remember when the town sprayed trucks one night all week. Wow, man. Yeah. That's pretty much how it goes, It's again, let's say I honestly believe that who owns the Roundup now? It was Monsanto. I think it's Bayer now. That Monsanto knew for years that the stuff was bad for your health, but they pulled off, they hid it well enough, so they got away with it, and eventually that stuff catches up with them. But that's all they have to do is Monsanto is no more, so they minimize liability and damages that they're responsible for at this point. So, Cat Lover says, I really enjoyed the Midnight Cafe channel. I will be watching this channel too. How can we get your radio channel? Stay tuned for that, Cat Lover. Me and Jason will do a live show on the Midnight Cafe and let everyone know when the contracts and stuff have been hammered out and all the details are hammered out. But we will be doing a live show at least once a week. It'll be available on TuneIn Radio, which is an app you can get for your phones or your car, and on the internet. You can get it right on your computer or laptop. So it'll be worldwide. It'll also be available on terrestrial. I can't remember what channel it is, but it's out there. And the best part is we're going to do themes. So we'll be doing, conspiracy theories and ghost stories and all that stuff that we've been doing, kind of like Art Bell did, but we'll also be able to play music, and we'll do themes. Maybe we'll have a big band swing night. Maybe we'll do something. We'll do probably the very first show I want to do is going to be with Art Bell's music. So we'll do some Art Bell theme music. We'll play some of his clips without any worries about copyright infringement like we had on YouTube. So I think it'll really open up the channel. It also is going to have live call-ins, and it'll also have a chat room. So on the days that we do it live and not pre-recorded, you'll be there. And so it'll be a set thing. It'll play reruns on the weeks that we're not able to do shows, but so we'll be there. So Andrew Wilson, did you serve, and if so, what branch? I certainly did. I was United States Army, and then I finished out my career in the North Carolina National Guard. So that's That's my service right there. Mike Miller saying hello from Southwest Louisiana. Well, welcome to you, Mike Miller. I had family that lived down in Louisiana. And in fact, they were wiped out by Katrina, but they rebuilt. And as far as I know, some of them are still living down there. So that's kind of cool. Jason Kane said, Eric, the new minivan showed up today. 110 whip on the bumper or the old Tramp 5500 on the roof. Doesn't matter at all. I haven't been allowed to put a CB in for years, so the 980 is going in ASAP. I would say on a minivan, put it right on the old roof there, man. Put the Tramp 5500 on the roof. You'll get excellent reception there. So Cat Lover says, I miss hearing Jason. He and you are so good together. We are, man. So Jason's been actually spearheading some of the work on our next step in life. He's actually right now probably making some fillers, some shows. So he's doing some audio only stuff with him and music and learning the software. So I tried to learn the software today after we talked at lunchtime. I installed it and tried to figure it out and buy. Man, it's going to take a better man than me to figure all that mess out, but hopefully he's the better man. So there we go. Andrew Wilson saying, "Hoorah, brother! Thanks for your service, and thank you to everyone else." I mean, I thought today would be a great day, not just because I'm off, but just because it's Memorial Day, and I want to make sure everyone realizes that that's just important to me, man. You know, I try to teach to anyone that will listen that, you know, it's not just a day off, man. It's a day to really thank those people out there that took the time out of their lives to do something like that. So good for y'all. And everyone out there that served or is serving or thinking about serving, good for you, man. Because if no one does it, well, we got problems. AR Man saying, but living in a town of 3,000 people with mostly farmland is the only way to live for me. I couldn't live in a city. Yeah. Wow. Okay, yeah, I missed the first part of that. So, yeah, I agree with that. Sounds like my chickens are having some issues out there. I agree with that. It's I live here, and I don't think I would want to go back to a city living. I go back to Raleigh quite a bit for business and to see family, and it keeps building and building and building, and it just scares me, man. In fact, I made a video that I haven't even edited up yet about, you know, water and where does water come from? Where are you getting your water from, man? And how dangerous it is that all these houses, all these apartments, all these townhomes, and they're all relying on city sewer and city water, and it just worries the heck out of me that if anything were ever go wrong, if we had a major drought, if we had a heat wave, if power failed even for a couple of weeks, there's so many people, man. It's so scary. So that worries me a bit, and I do love living out in the country where the water literally pours out of the side of a mountain. And that's all there is to it. Let's see. Andrew Wilson chiming in, it's all about those that didn't come home as far as Memorial Day. I agree, but like I said, I take it a little farther than that. I feel like it's not just that. It's about everyone, because everyone that joins, there is always the possibility, even if it's during a peacetime, there's always the possibility that you're not coming home. Because today's peace is tomorrow's World War III. We know that. We've seen, I mean, gosh, you know, I'm 45. How many wars have I been through? You know, that I you know, not the ones that I was in, but just the ones that I remember before I was in, and the ones that have happened after I got out. And it's just so much going on that somebody signs up thinking, oh, this will pay for my college. Come on, dude, you know. I think every soldier either does or should realize that signing on the dotted line is pretty much putting your life on hold and putting your life on the line. So to me, it goes that extra step. Jason Kane chiming, Semper Fi, all my brothers and sisters out there. Yeah, man, exactly. And I doubt any of them have time, you know, right now to be watching this show, but right on. So, I heard a little skip there for a second, but Dylan Oberon, water is a big topic behind the scenes in Wake County. My dad is working on procuring more water to cover the next 100 years. Interesting. So, Dylan, you're from down that way. That's right. I remember this now. So, yeah, because you made the comment about my WRAL newscaster pictures in that last video. See, I'm pretty good with the memory and names sometimes. Not all the time, but anyway, yeah, I just remember back, I think it was 2010, 2011 maybe, there was a massive drought. Oh, don't water your lawns, don't wash the cars, you know, all this stuff. And a moratorium on building in some towns in Wake County, and it was like, oh boy, this is serious, man. We really need to be careful. We could run out of water here. And the next year it rains and no one cares. You know, they go right back to building. And I swear, I imagine there's probably another 100,000 or maybe 150,000 people living in Wake County since the last time they had a scare. So what happens the next time? You know, or is it don't water your lawn at all, don't wash your car at all, and only drink on Wednesdays? I mean, what are we going to do, right? That's just poor planning, poor planning. But that's how it goes. I'm glad to hear your dad's trying to secure water from probably surrounding counties and stuff like that. But it is wild to me. It is wild to me. So I was lucky where I lived. I lived outside of city limits, a long ways outside of city limits. We had city water. We also had a well because the house was an old farmhouse. So during the drought, I was able to keep my farm and my animals and everything going by just pumping out of the well, which probably ticked off my neighbors because they had capped their wells and just gave up. But not this guy, man. I still had the old hand pump going. And, you know, that's the homesteading survivalist, prepper, whatever you want to call it in me, that just felt like I don't trust the water coming out of that tap. I want to know that I have a secondary source of clean water. So that was it. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, so there's a video on it. I kind of just cover talking about water supplies, stuff like that. I don't know if I'll ever post it. You know, sometimes I make, I wouldn't say doom and gloom type videos, but I have like 2 or 3 that I've made over the years that are sitting in a queue and never uploaded, man. Just decide after I edit them that it's like, damn, I don't want to be that guy on the web. I also don't want to catch the wrong attention from the censors on YouTube, so sometimes I leave those things to the wayside. It's also why I don't do gun videos, also why I don't do like that kind of reviewing or talk about, you know, sometimes on the Midnight Cafe I'll go on a rant about freedom of speech, stuff like that. But here I try to keep it family friendly. Hewlett Baker saying, even though me and mine had a great Memorial Day weekend, my thoughts and prayers go out to the men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice so that we can do what we're doing right now. That's right, man. Without sacrifice, there wouldn't be any hot dogs on the grill, that's for sure. Diller Oberon going to be leasing from the surrounding states. Yep, it's been my dad's life work in NC, Water and Buncombe and Wake. Cool, man. Sounds like a really good job. And a wise thing to do, man. At least he's looking out. At least some people there are looking towards, hey, we gotta do something about this mess. Wire welding 2016. What do you think of the K40 antennas? K30. I got a K30 on top of an F150. So good antennas. I think, and somebody told me this. I'm not sure if it's true, but I use Tram antennas because they're a little cheaper than Wilson or Cobra. But somebody was telling me they felt like maybe they're all owned by the same headline company, whatever that company is. And if you take a look at a Wilson 5000, a K40, and a Tram 3500, I think it is, man, they all look exactly the same. You know, they're all the same height. They all have the same coil, it looks like. They just have different labels on them, maybe some minor variations. So I've used Tram. I had the Tram 300, which is the size of the K30. The 400 or the K40 is the same size as the Tram 3500. And I would say that, you know, K40s when I was younger, everybody talks so highly of them. So I'd say they're good and they'll probably do you great. Again, if it had an F-150 and it's still got a steel bumper, which, you know, I know the new ones don't, but I don't know what yours is, I'd still go with a steel whip on the back of a truck. But, you know, K30 or K40 sitting on the roof is actually going to perform just as well. Pretty darn close, man. So there we go. I don't know. We got about 27 y'all in here right now. Let me move this around. I'm trying to see here. This is so different than the last time I did a live show on here. They've changed everything around here, man. So I don't know. Other things going on at the farm. I've got a lot more tractor videos. So I sold the garden tractor, which I made the video a couple of weeks ago talking about the beautiful Husqvarna that I've had all these years, and that was heartbreaking. It went to a really cool guy. He came up off the mountain, actually came from Virginia, and bought that. And I mean, it was tough to say goodbye, but he got that deal. I've got the Troy-Bilt Pony, which I'm doing some modifications and repairs on. So I just made 2 videos on it today, doing tune-ups and oil changes, which that thing's such a pain in the butt to do an oil change on. They just, they cheap out sometimes on these things in the wrong place. The Troy-Bilt's the same as an MTD. It's also the same as the Craftsman T1000. The Troy-Bilt's, that manufacturer is now making all the models, so they're pretty much the same. But I made those 2 videos. I'm not going to be putting ag tires on it, but I'm going to be putting on a set of chains on it, and I'll do a blade sharpening video on that one, and that's done. What you haven't seen lately is the the Murray wide body, that the wide body LT that I picked up. I was going to turn that into a mud mower, and I have made some progress on it, but very little because I've just been so busy. But I've got two aggressive mud tires for the back and for the front. Got some smaller ones go on the front. Going to be mounting those. Got a pulley to swap out. I got to figure out the belt size when I swap the pulley. Upgrade the brakes. I'm going to give it a paint job. I'm going to mess with the motor a little bit. So can't wait to kind of make that a series of videos, and hopefully sometime over this summer I'll have some time to put into it. But certainly looking forward to that. I know early on my channel was all about tractors and mowers and stuff, and then it kind of moved to CB, and now it's kind of a little bit of everything. But they do seem to get big views in the summertime, so I will be throwing up some more tractor videos and gardening videos. I got a till, still haven't tilled, man. I guarantee you the first time I have the opportunity to till, knock back those weeds, it'll rain, because that's Murphy's Law up here. But so there we go. But I'm gonna be doing those. I'm gonna be doing some more cooking videos, of course CB radio videos. I got the equipment that I picked up at RARS Fest. I'm gonna be making videos on that stuff, and eventually over the summer I'll put the antenna on the roof, and we'll get that new I got that Radio Shack ham radio or scanner that I'll be putting inside along with the RCI, so I'll do some videos on that. So there we go. Let's see here. Morgan Russman saying, yeah, Eric, you mentioned about water. I mentioned it before on another live feed. My grandfather has a spring near him within 3.5 miles. So yeah, that's it. So fresh water. If you have a spring, a mountain spring like I've actually got 3 on the property. You don't have to worry about pumping it out of the ground like you do with the well. It just comes out of the ground. You can put a glass up to it and drink right out of there. Jason Kane saying, dang, that was a quick sale. It was. I had it on the market for about a week and it went. The moped I had on the market for a week and it went. So I'm happy that they sold. I am selling the Echo. So I've got that up for sale. And who knows? Maybe somebody will buy that in a week. I hope so. Let's see here. I'm getting a warning here. It says check the video resolution. I see it's a little bit foggy, but I don't care, man. Brian is saying hello from Hiram Rapids, Ohio. Hello, my friend. Good to see you there. Cat lovers asking people to give a thumbs up. I appreciate it when everyone gives me thumbs up. I've got some people. Any CB video I put out now gets about 30 is usually the exact number. I don't know if it's a group of hams out there that are just pissed at me or just some disgruntled weirdo. But yeah, I get like 30 thumbs down in like the first 20 minutes of the video, and they all watch like 3 or 4 seconds of the video, so they just log in, click thumbs down, and log back out. Strange. I don't know. I wish if they were pissed off at me, they'd have the gonads to say something, I guess, but whatever. A 9mm AR man saying I tried using a spring on my 102 whip and it didn't work well. Had my friend use his equipment to check it and had to remove the spring to tune it correctly. Opposite of others' experience. Why? I don't know, dude, but I know that I had a truck. I had a Volkswagen Rabbit pickup truck, and I couldn't have a spring on it for the same reason. Have no idea why. But that's the weirdness when you're talking about a non-tunable antenna or a very minimally tunable antenna. The whip is pretty much where you're at. So the only tuning you can do with a whip is you can add a small washer or maybe 2 at most before you run out of threads to increase the height. And the only way to decrease the height is to shave just a smidge off the threads. But very, very, very hard to tune a 102 whip, so always an issue there. Yeah, thumbs up do help. Jason Kane and Cat Lover, they do help. They do help with analytics. They actually don't hurt in the way that people think they do. They're not going to push my videos down to the bottom of the pile, but they do hurt somehow. I'm not sure how, but it's not a huge deal. It is probably, like I said, a disgruntled person. I don't know, man. Andrew Wilson saying he's got the 2000 all warmed up. Well, if the skip starts rolling, man, let's do it. As a matter of fact, if you want to shoot, I've got it on right now. Hewlett Baker's asking, how's my health? I believe you mentioned a few weeks ago I had some problems. I do, man. I'm not well at all. I won't lie to you. I've got some intestinal issues that they thought were somewhat minor, and it turned out they weren't minor. This problem started before Christmas, and I ended up in the hospital right before Christmas, a week or two before Christmas. And they've been doing it with medication, trying to knock it back enough so they could go in and do surgery. They finally were able to do it, but it took 3 months because every time the medication ran out, the problem would return with a vengeance. So they finally went in there, did some surgery, and unfortunately, the news wasn't great. So it's nothing that can be cured. So it's just something I've got to learn to live with. But I've lost, and of course you can't tell because it's kind of a focus. I'm gonna try to adjust it, but I've lost like 30 pounds in a month. So it's amazing when you stop eating. Well, that works. It's amazing. So yeah, if you ever want to learn how to diet, you don't need Atkins, you don't need low carb, you don't need low fat, you don't need low anything. You just stop eating. Just liquid diet, man. You're golden. So that's it, man. Looks like I cleared up the camera a little bit. So 9mm AR, man. Those guys are talking to each other. Next gen after tactics, I've got an 89 22 RE that squeals real bad. When I push in the clutch, it goes away. It's getting annoying. Unfortunately, I do know what that is. You have a pilot bearing, and you have a what's the name of the other bearing? It's like case bearing, clutch release bearing. I'm sorry. So one of those two is the problem there. You're going to want to unfortunately pull the trans and replace the pilot bearing and the clutch release bearing on that. That'll probably get rid of it. If not, there are case bearings inside of the trans, and certainly if it's an old enough truck, that it may be that's going bad too. I had an old transmission, 4-speed trans on an old Rabbit that I was fixing up to resell. Had the same kind of issue, and it turned out it was the case bearings. When you would push in the clutch, you were forcing the whole gear set forward, and that was taking the weight off that rear bearing, so it would go away. So good luck to you on that one. If it's not 4-wheel drive, they're really not hard to replace on. Not the case bearings, but the other two bearings. If it's 4-wheel drive, it's kind of a pain in the butt. Michael Root saying, stuff sells fast, my buddy. Just sold his house. He had 17 offers an hour after it was posted. It went 10K after. Holy jeez, man. Well, buddy, I don't know where he lives, but holy cow, man. That's pretty crazy. So, yeah, houses are hot right now. People love buying houses, man. It's, the market's hot, which, I don't know. We'll see how short-term our memories are. But last time the housing market was this hot, so let's see, because I do know they're giving loans to just about anybody these days, because they gave one to me, and that's that's unusual. So there you go. Morgan Russman saying, hey Eric, that partly seems about right for some people. They jump on a video, hit dislike, then close the video. There seems to be different groups of people. I think that's one of the groups. Yeah, and I don't know what that's all about, but it's just weird. I don't care, I guess. It's just weird. You can tell exactly when they started targeting me. It was right after Christmas. Matter of fact, I had a Christmas video that got like 300 thumbs down, which was really weird, man. But, they say there's no war on Christmas. Maybe there is. Who knows? So, like that happened, and then, ever since then, there's been a group that mostly target the CB videos. So, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Papa's Barn, hey there from Missouri. Thumbs up from this ham guy. Good to see you, Papa. We're just talking about radios and tractors and cooking and life and everything in between, man. So anything you want to talk about, shoot it out here and we'll get it going, man. David G's chiming in. Hello, David G. Good to see you, man. David G and I are the ones that had lunch down at Rars Fest. It was awesome, man. So it's a shame you're moving away, David, because I'd love to make that an annual event, man. But that was definitely fun, man. Michael Root saying it sounds like Crohn's. It's not. It's not. I don't know if there's a cure for Crohn's, but it's not Crohn's. But there's no cure for this either. You just kind of suck it up, which I'm pretty good at doing at this point in life, because life is all about just sucking it up. So, Dallas Rife, good afternoon from the Middle Tennessee, and I'm off to work. Ah, man, Dallas, good to have you chime in. I know you sent a message earlier in the day saying it was like right when you're getting ready to go to work, but if you catch this transmission later on, I was telling them that at some point this summer I'm taking the RCI 2970 and I'm moving it out of here, out of the garage. I'm putting it in my office, man. I'm putting it in my room there. When I put the antenna on the roof for the scanner, it has a CB antenna built into that scanner antenna. So it's going to be awesome, man. I'm going to have a CB in the house, and not just a CB, but the best CB in the house. Keep the old unit in out here and have that rig set up. So appreciate that again, but I know you got to get to work, so good for you, brother. Let's see here. Michael Root saying he has a 98 Chevy S10, starts fine when it's cold out, but has a hard time starting on warm days. A fuel-injected vehicle having a hard time starting on warm days. I don't have it. Does it have a check engine light would be my next question. Being a mechanic, we always, if it's past the 1996 model, I always got to default to what is the check engine light saying. Now, of course, a car like a 98 is going to lie a lot as far as the check engine goes, but it may still point us in a direction. So if you have a code, I'd be happy to hear it, man, because I'm definitely down with that. David G says you can fly down. Man, I would love it, dude. If I know it's, I don't know, that might not be cost effective for you to fly all the way down to buy a $10 radio and have lunch with a friend, but if you're willing, I'm definitely able. So yeah, we'll have to keep that in mind, man. If that's something you want to do, maybe you want to visit other friends while you're down or hang out or whatnot. I'd be honored, man. That'd be great. Morgan's saying 300 dislikes. Yeah, man, it was crazy, man. It was like a 1 minute. Well, you guys could go back and look at it. It was like a 1 minute Merry Christmas from Farpoint Farms video. How do you manage to piss off 300 people with that? This guy, I did it, and I'm proud of myself for that. So, Dallas saying awesome. You got it, buddy. Yeah, I'm gonna build a box with a fan. I'm gonna have the power supply, the radio, all in a box, mounted. It's gonna be pretty cool, man. I'm gonna put it underneath where the computer monitor is. It's gonna be just like kind of front and center in there, man. So I'm planning on doing that. And I don't know if you saw the other video, but I got a Radio Shack scanner that's like a 1,000 or 200 channel scanner. So I'm gonna build this like elaborate box that's gonna have all that crap in it, and then hook it to that new antenna. So that's my like mid-August project, I'm hoping anyway. So David G saying get free air miles. Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, I've been thinking about maybe trying to do that, but then again, we never really get a chance to go on vacation. One of the bad parts about being a farmer or a homesteader is that you've got all these animals and you've got all the vegetables and fruit trees and everything, and you really can't walk away from that even for more than just 2 days is about the max. My wife and I would come from here down to Raleigh to visit family, and we tried doing that together, and we did it like an overnight, and that's no problem. But if you push it out to 3 days, you got problems when you come back. No matter how much water you put out, how much feed you put out, some dumbass, and I mean critter, knocks over the food and it gets spoiled, or tips over the water, or some stupid chicken's poop in the water, and then that messes that up. So it's weird how that works. And as far as the fruit trees and stuff like that, well, they're pretty much on autopilot. But vegetables, you got to water it if it's not the rainy season, which this year we have, what do they call it, El Nino. So we're getting a fairly dry summer up here so far. So yeah, it's tough to get away. But if I could get somebody I trusted up here to keep an eye on things, and I do have some friends that I might be willing to ask that of, but I live so far outside of town that it's an awful lot to ask somebody to come and take me. But I would love to take a real trip at some point this year. So anyway, Dave's saying get free miles, costs $11.90. That is a hell of a deal, my friend. And you always have a place to stay in New Hampshire. I went through New Hampshire when I was in the Army. I don't remember if I actually stayed there or not, but I know I went to I was in Massachusetts. We stayed at, there's a naval base there in Groton, I think it is, or I don't know, but Groton's in Connecticut. Maybe that's what it. Maybe we stayed in Connecticut and drove up to Massachusetts to see the battleship Massachusetts. And this was early 90s, man, but it was a cool trip. So I know I've been around that area. I can't remember exactly in New Hampshire if I was there, man. Junior GT, Eric, you can't worry about the haters. Life is way too short for that. You know what, man? You're right about that. I don't dwell too much on the nasty comments and stuff like that. I do tend to ignore them, or I'll just say something funny. But I certainly don't like getting into a pissing contest, especially over the internet. It's like, what's the freaking point, man? Like, if your life is so small that you have to pick a fight over the internet, I feel bad for you. And I mean that. I wish people would, I don't know, take that deep breath, go sit there and, go to a place like Grandfather Mountain, like the video I put up there not too long ago, and just look at it, just, enjoy it, soak in life and realize what life is really supposed to be about. So, yeah, you're right about that, my man. Dylan O'Brien, Skip is the opposite of yesterday. Got any good DX yesterday during all that craziness? Every channel was jammed. Yeah, I did talk a little bit. It was late at night, but I was on from like 9 o'clock at night to 11, I think, is when I got out and was done with all my chores and came out here and sat. And it was awesome, man. I did make a lot of good contacts. not to say that I'm breaking the law, but that RCI 2970 puts out a lot of power. It's, I'm used to playing with 4 watts and 11 or 12 watts on sideband. The RCI, even when I dial it back, which it's dialed back as far as you can dial it, I have a feeling, I haven't hooked up to a power meter, but I'll bet you that thing's throwing 50 watts. So I'd certainly get noticed. People definitely hear me when I key up. So I'm not talking over anybody, but yeah, it's very nice to have that function. And then, like I say, about an hour and a half before I came on here live, I was turning the radio on. I was cleaning up, putting all my equipment away for the day. Had the radio on, and there was skip rolling. I made contact with somebody in Mississippi, I think it was, or Missouri. I'm sorry, Missouri. And then it kind of faded out, and then that's been it. So yeah, it's been dead since we started the show live. So that's kind of a bummer. But let's see here. Skip seems dead now. Andrew Wilson is saying definitely. Morgan Russman said, of course, then again, there are bigger YouTubers that get several times that much, and considering how some people are these days, yeah, I don't know. It could be a competition. I don't see why they would do that. Like, if another CB channel is out there and they're trying to build their channel, maybe they think that by giving a bunch of thumbs down to mine, it'll somehow promote their channel or help it. I don't know how that is, but I'm not the kind of guy that's like, oh, it's just mine, it's all mine. If some other CB channel out there would like to collaborate or would like me to throw a shout out, by all means, just get in touch with me, bro. I don't have a problem with that at all. So, yeah, if that's the case, you're not playing with the guy who doesn't want to share. Okay, there's plenty of room on the internet for everyone. Mike Miller says Skip was rolling yesterday. Today it's totally dead. David G, did you finally receive my email? Are you talking about the one that had your email address? Because yes, I did, and I sent you one about 10 minutes before I went live here tonight. So, yeah, I did get yours, and I sent one back to you, brother. 9mm AR man, I hate to leave, but I have to head to my shop for some Kydex. I'll stick around for the whole live stream next time. Love your videos, and I'm always learning from them. Hope we connect sometime. Me too, brother. Me too. Well, good luck, and understand having to go to work because life is certainly busy. In fact, I really ought to be doing other things right now than this, but I felt like it was just time to hook up and talk with folks. So, Michael Root says every time my parents go on vacation, I have to go to their house, which is 45 miles away, every day and feed the stray cats. My mom likes to feed 25 strays every day, and she calls every day to make sure I fed them. Michael, you're a saint. Your mom's a saint. Taking care of animals like that is God's work, my friend, and that's all I can say about that. In my last house, we lived right at the edge of where the highway kind of ended, and people would always drop off cats and dogs. And over the years at that house, I took care of an awful lot of stray cats and an awful lot of stray dogs. A lot of them, were really good critters that had been very adapted to humans. They weren't feral by any means. They would come right off that highway truck stop there, and they would come up to the house, and I'd feed them. And I mean, we didn't ever have 25, but we probably had 4 or 5 every year that would be around. And then I was always trying to find homes for them, and I paid out of my own wallet to get all those critters fixed and try to find homes for them. So I feel what your mom's doing. She's doing God's work there. So I know there are people out there that enjoy killing. I'm not that guy. Ever since the Army, I don't enjoy killing. I'll hunt, but it's business. It's not pleasure. So I never shoot anything or kill anything that I don't absolutely have to. And that means that taking care of critters is what you got to do. So good for you, man. Adam saying 697 in Nashville on my rinky dink 949. I wouldn't call that a rinky dink radio. Those Galaxies are great radios. Hewlett Baker saying he's getting some skip on the Super Bowl. I'm on 38 lower sideband, but it's been nothing but static right now. Like, noise floor is below a 1, man. It's like 0.5, so there's like nothing going on, so that's cool. Dave G's just saying thank you, got it, man. Michael Root, I get channel 6 on my handheld. Good for you, brother. And Adam saying I recently got a Max and 40 channel handheld for $5 and it gets about 2 miles. Not bad. $5 for any working CB is like, that's awesome. So that's really great, man. Good for you. I've got a couple of handhelds. Jim Thomas saying, do you have ticks here? Man, in Raleigh, holy cow, outside of Raleigh, man, so bad. But up here, very, very rare to have a tick on you. I'd say probably once or twice a year I'll have one crawling on me, and I haven't had one meet its goal, so to speak, so far since I've been up here, which is great. Now, that said, we do have a lot of chickens. Used to free range them, so I'm sure they eat them up too. But now they're all in a enclosed area. I got about an acre for them to roam, so that probably helps keep down on it. And even though the house is surrounded by fields and then surrounded by lots of woods, not a bad issue, man. Same thing with mosquitoes, and I think I talked about that with David G. Up here, there is like nothing. There's no mosquitoes, man. It's crazy. So I don't know why. Obviously it gets awfully cold in Alaska, so why they have such a mosquito problem. I don't know what it is that, but I'm not complaining, man. I'm super happy with that. Papa's Barn, got to go. Do you do live on a schedule? I don't, man. And again, this was one of the big issues with the Midnight Cafe when we were like, okay, every Saturday at 7. It's freaking hard to keep a schedule when I got 2 part-time jobs. I got the YouTube stuff. I've got another side job. I do restorations out of the house and repairs out of the house. I got the farm. I got the critters, and I got a life that I'm supposed to be living. Adding one more thing to that pile is awfully tough. So I squeeze it in when I can, but it was great to have you on the channel there for a while, Papa. So you take care of yourself, brother. Adam's saying he lives in an apartment, so I operate a Wilson mobile antenna on my file cabinet. They won't let me put an antenna outside. Oh, well, that's a bummer, dude. I wonder if you could get away with this. I wonder if you could get a long wire antenna. So cut like an 18. Well, here's how you make the cheapest, and I'm going to make a video on this at some point over the summer, but here's the cheapest base station radio you will ever get, man, or antenna you'll ever get. You can take coax. Just get your RG8 or whatever coax, right? You cut one end off of it. You strip the cable about 18 feet of that cable off, so you just have the center copper wire that's going through there. You're cutting the ground off and you're cutting the insulation off, right? You do that, and that is a antenna, all right? And you can, if you're really careful, you cut the ground wire, the ground part of it, and you keep that, and you run that out into a T. So you have your ground wire going this way, and you have your actual wire going down or up. Mostly down. So if you did that, I would say you probably couldn't do the ground wire, but you could do the long wire antenna at 18 feet and then just trim it so your SWR matches up. But cut that. You could take that thing when you want to play on the CB and roll it right over your railing, as long as it's not touching any of the building, and then run that cable to your antenna, and you, sir, would have a base station antenna. And then at the end of the night, you just pull that thing up, roll it up, put it in the corner. So that's something to think about. And I'm going to show some homemade antenna designs, but that would be the simplest antenna you can get, and it would work. I mean, your Wilson's working, so good for you. But just in case you wanted to go into a larger antenna. Jason Kane saying it's the radiation and magnetism from all the grays creeping around. Hey, man, you never know. There are a lot of solar flare activities ticking up, and just a matter of time between the Carrington Part 2. So there you go. AR man, screw it. This is fun. I'll stick around. I'll make the holsters tomorrow. Sorry, it's keeping you busy, eh? I understand what it's like, man. Anamorphic Adam saying dill pole. I pondered that idea. It does work. I'm gonna make one this summer. I've got some leftover smaller cable that I got when Radio Shack went out, and I'll show you how to design one or build one, and we'll test it. We'll play with it. So there's something to think about. David G saying excellent, man. So cool. So, I don't know. What else y'all want to talk about? I got, car-wise, this winter I never did come up with a project car. I do have a couple of leads on cars. I was looking at an Isuzu pickup truck that needed a head gasket. Be a nice little flip. The car was in extremely good shape for a 92 model. Just a two-wheel drive 5-speed, but something fun to fix up and flip. So, got that. I was looking for a Geo Metro convertible for the longest time, but I never found one that was even close to in good enough shape for me to make a project out of it. Always looking at Beetles and Super Beetles, and I think, I don't know. Who knows what the future brings, but I could see myself very shortly buying a bunch of Beetles, like scouring the East Coast and picking up a bunch of shells, loading up my property with that, and turning the restoration department here into a Volkswagen Beetle restoration shop. I'm just kind of exclusively working on that stuff. Something I should have done 15 years ago. I don't know if any of y'all know this, but you can probably find me in my drinking and younger days. I used to run a website and have a web page, or have a YouTube page back in the birth of YouTube, And I was a Volkswagen water-cooled repairman, so I used to restore Volkswagen Rabbits and pickups and Scirocco's and Jettas and convertibles, like hardcore. Used to do that stuff and put it away, man. Like gave up on it when I moved up here, and I guess I still got that beat up blood in me, man. But I hate the new stuff. It's garbage. I mean, and I'm not saying like garbage. I'm saying like if you took garbage and garbage had garbage, that would be what a modern Volkswagen product is. So no love there. But the old stuff there from the Mark One water cooled and the old air cooled stuff, I could definitely see myself making a living or trying to make a living doing that stuff. So that might be in the future at Farpoint. I don't even know where that came from, but there it is. Anamorphic average. My last location was on top floor. When the management went home, my pole would go up about 12 feet. Hey, man, right? I like it. That's good. Do it. Dave G said maybe sometime we can schedule a bunch of us to turn on our radios and maybe we can make contacts live. Yeah, so people have been asking me that since the channel started. And a lot of times these live shows is when I try to do that stuff. And I've had some success. We had a couple shows where I made contacts. And actually I made a contact with a guy in Iowa or something like that. And he ended up coming on the show because he wasn't watching at the time, but he had heard of me. So, yeah, I'd like to do that. Maybe when Skip picks up and we can try to, like, just... maybe I'll throw out like like I did today, saying there's a message saying, hey, we're going to do a live show. Maybe I'll throw that out and say, hey, Skip's rolling, turn it on, and let's see what we got here. So, Andrew Wilson saying, okay, Cobra 29 LTD Classic. I'm dead keying 5 watts. My PEP is about 20. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's Cobra 29s are good for tuning up. I don't know how to do that, but I certainly know that 29 is probably like the ultimate classic truck radio. A lot of truck drivers got the 29, and they can be modded. People add soundboards, they add stinger boards, give them more power even than that. There's people who put dual finals in them. I mean, there's a lot you can do with a 29, man. I'm all about sideband, so I don't collect radios specifically that are AM. I'll pick them up and they're a good price and fix them up and play with them and resell them. But I'm always about the sideband stuff. So. Adam's saying you could go outside and sit in his car. 93 outside. Woo! Yeah. Stick inside, man. I think you'd be fine inside. AR man still working on his 1973 F-250 4x4, but it's been sitting in a farmer's field since the 90s. I hope to be driving before the end of the summer. Great project, man. One thing I'll tell you to expect on that is you'll get it all fixed up, fire it up, and run it. You'll probably drive it for a week or two, and then you'll notice it has some oil leaks. It's nothing you did or didn't do. When those seals sit for so long a period of time, they just dry and they crack. Don't put any swell seal in it; you'll just make it worse. But you might have to go back in there and replace some seals. Just be aware of that, man. Fernando Santos, thank you for your service. Well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that, brother. Adam's asking, is it true that a Beetle Bug engine only has 4 bolts holding it into place? You got that right, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty easy. There's a lot of old timers that could take those things out. 17 millimeter, I believe, is the size. And that and a skateboard, you could have that engine out in about 20 minutes. Me, I'd never been in a rush, so about an hour I can jack one up enough and remove the rear tin and slide it out of there. But beautiful, simplistic engine and beautiful, simplistic car, but very quirky. There's a lot of Beetle. I mean, that engine or that whole car design dates back to the mid 30s, late 30s. So nothing like you're going to see on a modern vehicle. So if you're a modern mechanic who's never messed with something like that, you're probably going to be surprised. So you might even be confused. Andrew Wilson says, gives a shout out to 707 most nights. I'm there. I'm hit or miss. It's been so dead. There was like a month and a half, man, where it was so dead that I'd turn it on and I'd forget about it because all the B is like it is right now, just so dead. And so finally, the last week or so, it's come back to life, and it's almost like I forget. Oh man, I need to turn this thing on. So I've had the scanner on, but not that. So yeah, today I had it on. Yesterday I had it on. It's been great. Oh, sorry guys, I'm beat. It was a long night last night. 9mm AR man saying it will be a new truck for him. I'll be driving the same Chevy 4x4 that he bought new in 1994. Good for you, dude. Too many people get a car, keep it for a few years, and trash it. I tend to drive them until they're done. The Echo I'm getting rid of for a very specific reason, and I'll share that with y'all in about 2 weeks. But I plan on having my next car for at least 20 years, if not more. So there's that mindset. the Volvo that died, we had that one for a decade. The Volvo before it, because I worked on Volvos at a dealership, I had that one for 12 years, and I bought it. It was an 89. I bought it and rolled it for 12 years, put 120,000 miles on it, and sold it to somebody. So I like to keep cars a long time, and as long as you keep up with them, man, they'll just keep on trucking. Vegan driver, hey, haven't made it to a live chat for months. Hope everyone has been doing well. Good to see you, man. I don't know, vegan driver, are you really a vegan? Because I did that review on the Laura Luma. Well, I don't know if that wouldn't be vegan. That might have just been vegetarian, but I loved it, man. My wife had 2 of them when she got home. She loved it too. It was pretty wild. Totally not worth the money that they asked for that. I think they want $7 for it. But for like $2, I'd have been down with that. I'd probably buy a case of that stuff. That was good stuff, man. So, and fairly healthy for you, hopefully. I don't know. There was an awful lot of ingredients, though. Dallas Rife, nothing like a properly set up Cobra 29, just my opinion. I'm sure a few others agree. It's true, man. As far as AM goes, Cobra, that platform, and Uniden made the, what was it, the 66 or 72? I can't remember what Uniden's was, but it's the same board, same great radio. Oh my gosh, I hear Skip. Starting to come back in. Maybe we'll get some lucky here. So yeah, those Cobra AM radios. Like I said, a lot of people put in echo boards, talkback mods, channel mods. You can really do them up, and I think that's another reason. It's kind of like buying an AR. You know, there's so many doodads you can put on them now. It's not about the gun. It's about the platform at this point. So Hewlett Baker saying, Adam, yes, the Beetle has 4 bolts holding the engine. He had a 68. Swapped engines from one another in a day, and that was exactly how it was, man. You could pop one out if you had a junk car. You know, you could swap engines in no time. Marshall Blythe said started rebuilding his '97 Metro engine today. Pray for you. You got this, dude. I came real close. I tried. The guy brought a $1,000 Metro in. It's a '98 3-cylinder 5-speed Metro hardtop 2-door, great shape mechanically, except the engine was blown. He overheated the heck out of it. And he wanted $1,000 for it, man. And that's a $200 or $300 car with a blown motor. Unfortunately, it was not able to convince him of that. So, if the price had been right, I'd definitely drove the heck out of that thing, man. Those are great cars. Jordan B says a couple of weeks ago I picked up a vintage 1970 Seiko automatic watch with an amazing blue dial at a thrift store. The case is shaped like a UFO. Seiko, awesome. They're the ones that talk about sidetrack here, but dude, Seiko had the first computer watch, the watch that you could take that watch, put it down onto a little keyboard attachment that they had for it, and it was like, I don't even know what it did, but I know that I drooled so hard over that thing, that it was so awesome. And who was the company that made the TV set watch? Because that was out there too. I'm thinking it was either Seiko, it might have been a Casio, but again, freaking awesome, man. That was such a great time in American and world history. Just the inventions were so cool. Now everything is just, oh, look at my smartphone. There's a great new ad for it. There's nothing cool about it, man. The set watches were cool, man. So Marshall Blatt saying it burned an exhaust valve, time for new head, probably new rings too. Yeah, man. So if you don't want to pull the engine out, you can actually do a rebuild on one of those things, or what I call the poor man's rebuild, right in the car. So pull your head off. Right, you need to redo the valves. Great, you can have the head machine and make sure that everything's good there. But if you want to re-ring it, I've done this several times. You can get a set of stock bearings and stock rings, and what you do is you take the oil pan off. You can take all the mains off except for the very first one and the very last one. You can replace almost all the main bearings that way. Just go with stock, but you can take out all 3 piston. You take your caps, rod caps, pop the cylinders up through, put your new rings in, slide it back down, new cap bearings for all 3 cylinders, and you can do it all in the car. So if you don't have the equipment to pull the engine, you can do the whole thing on ramps, man. I've done them, so I'm here to tell you. I used to do that with Volkswagens, did it with a few Toyotas over the years. Works great. I mean, no, you're not miking everything out, you're not machining, you're not honing, but if it's not too worn out, you're refreshing it, and I guarantee you the thing will last another 100,000 if you do it right. AR Man says it's easy to keep driving the same truck for 25 years when you fix everything yourself. There you go. But it's got 244,000 miles on it with the original ball joint, tie rod, wheel bearing, and U-joints. I can't believe the ball joints lasted that long, man. You're living dangerously, brother. Michael Root saying he'd love to put a 350 into a Beetle. That would be insane. That would definitely be insane. Andrew Wilson said, after one of your videos explaining SSB, I may be skipping over you because we are only one state away. It's true. So it has to be just right sometimes, you know. So vegan driver retracted his message. What? Man, sorry. That must have been a good one. Beetle is a vehicle that was designed to be the car of the people. It was, man. It's a simple, fix-it-yourself type vehicle, and they don't make them anything like it anymore, and they never will. They don't want anyone touching their cars anymore. So, such a bummer, man. You're lucky Arkansas has plenty. Unit has the 78 LTD, similar to Cobra 29. That's it. I knew there was one out there that had it. Blazing Spike 3809. Hello to you, sir. Bro Weaver, Lester Customs. That guy offers custom CB radios, Echo, talkbacks, stinger boards, uppers, lowers, clarifier. Yeah, man. I've heard of Lester's, but Lester's is expensive, man. Lester's is for people that have money. I'm not that guy. I would love to. Someday maybe I'll dream about it. But yeah, I actually, stinger boards and upgrades like that are just so cool, man. So, picked up a Midland CB for $30. Blazing Spike, good for you, man. That's a good deal. 9mm AR man says he was given a Cobra 29, but it doesn't work, doesn't receive anything. But a few transmissions came in, a few times nothing. I'm not familiar with hard repairs like that. If cleaning and checking for broken soldering joints don't work, you're getting into a deeper level than I usually go. Anamorphic Adam, anyone remember that Seiko that would let you watch TV? The funny part was you'd watch TV and you had to wear the big clunky pack on your... Yes, that's the one I'm talking about. So you do remember that. Yeah, there was a watch, but it was like a watch. And then if you wanted the actual receiver part, you had that little wire that went up to your pocket, and that had the radio, the antenna, and had all the guts to make it work, man. Dude, so cool. So cool. Can you imagine how James Bond awesome you'd be if you were rolling around town being like, what time is it? I don't know, man. I'm watching the news. I mean, that's just these kids with smartphones, man. They're never going to know how awesome life used to be. Jason Kane is saying, yeah, man, it's boring. Phone this, phone that. Hey, look at my phone. It can be used to make solar grilled cheese channel. It's true, man. It's true. It's poop. Jordan B's got the model number. Good for you, bro. Now I'm going to have to Google that crap after we're done, because I remember lusting after that for so long, man. That and the computer watch, it was just like, those were the days. Those were the days, man, when computers were such a mystery, you know? Back in the ZX81, Timex Sinclair, your Apple I, your TRS-80 Model 0, Model 1, you know, just a cool, back in the birth of awesomeness, you know? Jamaica Dog just got here, talked to Daytona Beach in Michigan today, but no luck on 35 LSB. Yeah, I only turned it on about an hour before the show started, and talked to like one guy, Iowa, and that was it, man. I've just been so busy, it sucks. But Anamorphic Adam saying, I think the watch was made in 82, 83. That'd be about the right time, yeah. Bro Weaver says, have you ever rebuilt a tractor motor? I see rebuild kits that come with cylinder sleeves. I was wondering how difficult it would be to remove a cylinder sleeve. I've rebuilt motors where I put new rings in and new bearings, and one burned a cam valve, like the valve literally just wore off. I have no idea how it happened. So I replaced a camshaft on one. A lot of times with those motors, when they fail, it's usually catastrophic failure. If we're talking Briggs anyway. When a Briggs fails, it doesn't just spin a bearing. It blows a hole through the side of the block, and so they're usually trash. But I've done a lot of like valve adjustments, head gaskets, carb rebuilds, you know, replacing oil seals, stuff like that. And like I said, that one engine back, and this was back in the late 80s, I did a 5 horsepower that I did everything on, you know. I don't even know if it was blown. It may have just been tired, and I just redid it. But it seems to me like every time you find a motor that's trash, it's trash. Like it pops a hole in a block, and it's pretty much a done deal. So no, I've never done a sleeve kit, anything like that. Blazing Spike 389, I have a Cobra 29. The meter is stuck all the way to the right of the meter. There is a way to fix that. I am not the guy, but I watched a video and was able to fix mine. YouTube it. There's a guy out there. I can't remember what he does, but it's like a little dab of alcohol to get the gunk off of it, a little dab of lube, and you know, some light tapping or something like that, and it brings that thing back to life. So, yeah. Anamorphic Adam, the Commodore 64. Yeah, heck, to me the Commodore 64 was advanced, man. You know, the Commodore 64, I had the 128D which was like the best of the best as far as Commodore went. I had that sucker all the way up through into the 2000s, and I wish I'd never sold it. But I had that, and I even had the 1581 drive, which was the 3 1/4 drive. Had an REU for it, 512K RAM. Man, I did a lot of work with geos. I mean, I did a lot of like business stuff with that. I had, I've got the weirdest computer stories, man. So I started off with a ZX81 that I built myself. I made a video on here because I still have it, and I did a lot of upgrades over the year. My first job, my first self-employed job, was building decks on the side in the evenings, and I used a Coleco Atom, and in BASIC I made a program that I could keep track of purchases and stuff like that, like an inventory program, so I could keep track of my profits and losses on a freaking Coleco Atom, man, that I got at a yard sale for like $10. I don't know why I didn't use the Commodore. There probably was software available for it, but the Commodore was my main computer. I got this Coleco Atom. I put it out in the shop that I had at the time, which was like a half car garage. I mean, you could wedge a very small car in there, but that was about it. And I used that for like 3 or 4 years, and from that I moved up as far as like bookkeeping. I did use when I finally got a good. I got an IBM XT when everyone else was probably using 486s, and that was my main computer. And so the Commodore 128 went out in the garage. I had geos maxed out. I mean, I had every program you could buy for geos, and I did spreadsheets and everything, man. Word processing, you name it. And I ran. Well, I'm not going to name the name of the company because it's funny when people do find it, and they'll usually chime in and send me a message being like, holy crap. But the website is finally gone after all these years, but it was around all the way up to like 2017 because I sold the business, and the person who bought it from me kept the site up for ages. But I used to drink, and so I don't advertise it because a lot of the videos that I made and a lot of the how-to stuff that I made, it may have been a little bit wasted. Of course, back then I wouldn't believe it, but looking back, it looked like I might have been drinking too much every day. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, I used the Commodore for that, and then finally retired to Commodore, and I, moved up to more modern computers over the years. But, growing up poor, you made do with what you got. And so I'd pick up all the components for that Commodore at yard sales. I paid, I think, $15 for the drive and $15 for the memory and all that stuff, man. So good times, man. Again, it kind of goes back to the Seiko watch and the TV. Those were the days for real because we could do so much cool stuff. It wasn't just an app, and it wasn't just everybody had the fastest computer on earth. It was squeezing the last bit out of everything that you had, and that's what I miss about I miss about life right now. A vegan driver saying, "Oh, I haven't tried any Loma Linda products. Being vegan for almost 4 years, I haven't been on CB." Since I got off the road 10 months ago, getting my ham license this summer. Well, good for you, dude. So, excuse me, man, I got something in my throat here. It was good. I don't know if it's vegan or just vegetarian. You'll have to check into that, but it was good. I've got 2 other ones I'm going to make reviews of, and if they're as good as that one, then a good product. But you better have plenty of money because not cheap. Let's just put it that way. Anamorphic Adam download with a 90-minute cassette. Yeah, that was the way, and the Timex was that way. The Coleco Atom had like high-speed tape drives, and I did suffer failures occasionally with that, mostly because being outside in the shed, moisture issues would kill those tapes. They were already getting kind of old. Junior GT, your house only had one phone on the wall in the kitchen. Yes, it did. Had a cord on it that would reach halfway through the house. But it did, and it had the little dial, and that's the way life was, man. Jordan B says, I have a ColecoVision with about 15 games that I picked up at a garage sale a few years back, still fun to play. Yeah, man, I was always an Atari guy when it came to games because, again, I was so far behind the curve. When everyone was buying Nintendos, everyone was trashing those 2600s. I didn't get my first 2600 till 1986, but I would go to like every yard sale and flea market and buy all these cartridges. And at one point, I had over 300 cartridges, which was a hell of a collection. And so I was playing all kinds of Atari. But I did come across some ColecoVisions, and I did find some cartridges for the Atom. The Coleco Atom could play the ColecoVision games. And man, they were way better. They were like Nintendo quality games, especially the arcade stuff. So super fun, man, super fun. Blazing Spikes saying, have you ever heard of a Channel Master CB radio? That I have not, my man. And I've seen some oddball blends out there, but never a Channel Master. That's kind of weird. Michael Root saying, I remember my dad racing his Cadillac and blowing the motor. Oh, God. Yeah, those big old V8s do not like to be wound high. So, there you go, man. Todd Riddle, how's it going, Eric? How's it going, brother? How's it going, Todd? Good to have you join the club. Vegan Driver says, I just found your meatless nuggets video. I don't know how I missed it previously. They do contain eggs and milk. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. Perhaps some of their other products don't. You'll have to check that. But and interesting. Like I said, you kind of get the impression, oh man, this is going to be terrible. Just because fake anything, it just seems like, oh boy. But I gotta say, I really liked it, and it wasn't just me. My wife tried it. She said again, it didn't really taste like chicken, but it was pretty darn good. Gen after next tactics. What do you think about Hawaii wanting to sell in America and the new trade negotiations? Man, you got to go right to the core on that one. So screw that company, screw all companies from China, and I hope that the trade war continues and escalates. I don't mind paying $5 for something that cost $1, if that means that crap is made in America and not in China. We are feeding our enemy with our dollar bills, and we have been for the last 30 years, and it is definitely time to stop. That they keep putting back doors in all the products they sell us. They sell us garbage, and on their end they inflate and charge tariffs on all our stuff. So screw those people, and screw them all being bitchy and whiny about the fact that it's time to square up. So that was very politically incorrect, but that's a hot one for me, man. I'm about had enough of that crap. I'd be happy to pay 5 times what I'm paying for everything right now if it's made in America. That's my final answer on that. Bro Weaver saying, that is the problem with PCs today. So much power and bandwidth. Now websites are large and bulky, using low qualified programmers with common tools. Back then, people had to maximize code. It's so true. The Commodore 64 kilobytes of RAM. Dude, Geos, and again, it ran better with an REU and it ran better with a bigger drive, but Geos 128 2.0 is a freaking masterpiece, man. It does everything that the Mac software of the day did, and just so much. It's just crazy they jammed that into 64 kilobytes of RAM. Philip Burno, hello from Southwest Michigan, 959. I've definitely talked to you, Philip, 959 from Michigan. We have talked before. I don't know if you remember Farpoint or North Star, but North Star 707, Farpoint 707. Definitely had a chat with you, my friend. Skip Campbell, when is the next Midnight Cafe? Skip, you missed it in the beginning, but the Midnight Cafe is going to be streaming live on TuneIn Radio on a new radio station, and actually we'll be streaming terrestrially on a radio station here. We're just hammering out a contract, so very shortly we'll be playing any music we want to, and really going to be taking it to the next level. And you can thank Jason on that one. He went above and beyond to make sure that happened, because it was kind of borderline. But matter of fact, I kind of gave up on it after day one because it just seemed like it wasn't going to work out. But he kept hammering, man, so he gets all the credit on that one. We'll let you know. We'll do a live show on the YouTube channel to let everyone know what's going on when everything is hammered out. So there you go. Junior GT, Eric, do you want to take over the world? Just jam the cell phones. No one will know how to do anything except us. It's true. When we use our cell phone as our brain, when we use Google as our brain, when I no longer have to remember anything, I can just Google it, and I see that in every aspect of life. And people my age and older are also falling for that. In the mechanic field, anyway, people don't diagnose very well anymore. They just go right to the internet. Well, what's this code mean? What is type in the symptom, and somebody else has worked it out there. But what will happen is as we roll through the next generation of techs, the number of people who are going onto the internet and giving the solutions will dwindle, because they're all out there looking for the answers, not learning them. So I think that's going to become a problem. I think that's just huge all along, and we're losing a lot of knowledge. We're losing a lot of IQ. We're losing a lot of the critical thinking that is required in this world. So I'm worried about it big time, buddy. AR Man says, okay, I really have to go this time to hit the Home Depot before it closes for the night. Great talking to you, and all the side conversations I had. Great night, man. Take care, 9mm AR. Be good, my man. Michael Root saying he remembers when AOL was great. The birth, man. So I was too poor to have AOL, so I was still on BBSs back then. I ran BBSs out until the end, and I never made part 3 of that series, but I still run a BBS. WWIV 4.24a dial-up modem. And we talked about this maybe on the Midnight Cafe show, that I feel like there's going to come a time with the mass censorship that's going on the internet these days, where BBSs, or a new version, a modified version of BBSs, will return, where it's a decentralized, kind of like BitTorrent and torrents are not centralized. No one has the file on their computer. Everyone has bits of it on their computers. I think that we'll have a version of the internet that... I got a phone call. Hold on. I've got a phone call here. So you got that going on here. I don't know what's going on. It won't hang up. But anyway, you've got a version of the internet that's going to be decentralized. It's going to be computer to computer. So it'll be impossible to block access other than on the scale. So I can say, I don't want you on my channel, or I don't want you on my site, on my server. So I'm going to block you from logging into it or posting on my board. Maybe that's my way of dealing with it, but I'm not going to be able to silence you on all the other servers that are out there. And that decentralization will go a long way, and it'll happen. It's going to happen in our lifetime. So there you go. Johnny Mark saying, "Hey Eric, hello to you, my man." Oh my gosh, somebody's out there on the internet on 38. Bro Weaver saying, "I think it's cool that Trump is doing in Japan. Just watched the sumo match, gave the champion a trophy. He's my man." Amen, brother. Go USA. Yeah, that's, there we go. Next, agreed. Maybe that's a topic for the Midnight Cafe. It is. It's kind of a sensitive one. Again, I try to shy away from topics like that on YouTube because the algorithms and the censorship is just getting to be freaking out of hand. But you already know that. I think everyone on YouTube is aware of the censorship issues and how they're, they've gone way beyond political censorship. Now they're going after conspiracy theories and UFO topics. Secure Team 10, I think it is, completely demonetized the entire channel over some BS. And I think they were able to go on Twitter and start a campaign and get them back. But channels like mine that have 15, 20,000 people on them, if they want to demonetize my whole channel, they've killed me. They can block access to my videos and silence me, and they know it. So it's disgusting, man. It's totally disgusting. Todd Riddle, Eric, I was going to tell you that I just had my 7th kidney stone this last month. Oh my God, man, I'm so sorry to hear that. Ugh. Blazing Spike, it's making the scrap metal so low in price, $3 a hundred is nothing nowadays. Is that true, man? See, we trash cars all the time at my job, but we don't really, we don't see that. Customers will have their cars towed off, so we don't know what they're given. But, again, Blazing Spike, so that is a side effect. But it's like if you became addicted to a drug, right? And this is my analogy with China. If you become addicted to a drug and you're hooked on it for so long, first of all, it's not good for you. It's costing you a lot of money. And then when you quit, this is the price you pay. So, yeah, we're going to see some serious economic ripples. There are going to be jobs. There are going to be items that we buy that will become super devalued and others that will become overvalued. But that is the price that we pay for having the addiction for so long. And once we're over that addiction, and hopefully we will be, well, then life goes back to normal or some sort of version of normal. I'm sure that the Indians... there's a lot of other countries that are up and coming. India has massive infrastructure and would love to churn out stuff for us. And they're also a democracy, at least somewhat. So maybe we can give our money to them and they can produce, inexpensive crap until we're completely off the meds, if that's what you want to call it. You know what I mean? Mackenzie Gaddy, hi, shout out, please. I love your video. I was your first subscriber. Are you kidding me? Mackenzie was my first subscriber? That is incredible, man. You should send me a private message, and I will send you a Farpoint Farm shirt for free. How's that sound, Mackenzie? If that is true, and there's probably a way to go back and find out, but that is awesome, man. Dallas Rife, I thought you had to go, man. Dallas saying Snake Radio Custom is a lot like Lester's, but Tim will actually answer the phone and talk to you and doesn't charge a war pension. I had him build that unit in 980 last year, and the videos he built. So yes, you had told me about Snake. I've watched some of his videos, man, and he does the tests afterward and stuff. It's pretty cool, man. Uploads it to his channel. Yeah, I've watched some of that stuff. Ed ODT, people don't know value. They don't value knowledge because they haven't earned it. It's so true, man. So, and I see it where I work again. I'm a mechanic from before the internet. So, and before OBD2, which is like when we were able to plug computers into cars. So when a car came in, it was a computer controlled car and it had a malfunction. You literally had to figure that crap out yourself, man. You got a test light out, you got a multimeter out, and you went to town, man. You had to know what a sensor was supposed to give as far as an output. You had to check it with an ohm meter and figure out, hey, is this working? A voltmeter, an ohm meter, a noid light to see if an injector was pulsing, all kinds of crazy stuff. Guys now, they don't have to do that. They plug it in, they look at the code, and they go, huh. They look it up on the internet, and they go, I think it needs this, and that's it. So they have no idea that critical thinking doesn't exist, man. So Jordan B saying, initially the trade agreement was to help China when they first joined the World Trade Organization. Now they don't need the help, and it's time to tighten up the trade agreement. Agree 100%. Another thing I think Donald Trump mentioned that needs to happen immediately is we need to get rid of the favorable postal rates that they have, where they can send some crap from China for 99 cents. If I want to send the same thing back to them, it costs like 38 bucks. That needs to go away. That alone would even the playing field for small business owners who are trying to make a living on eBay and Amazon selling products. For them to be able to buy it from a Chinese store for pennies on the dollar and then have it shipped for free, I mean, come on, man. This is common sense. I don't know who the hell would think that it's a good idea to have that in place, but you're right. In the 60s, it was a great idea. In the 70s, it was an okay idea. In the 80s, it might have been a fine idea. In the 90s and now, it's crap and it needs to go. Whew, getting fired up now, buddy. Michael Root, don't only blame China, blame unions. Man, I don't even have an opinion on unions. I know that, we've had a lot of love and hate for unions over the years, and I know that they've caused prices to go up, but this is an international issue more than it's a national issue. Blazing Spike, is the General Lee CB radio like a Cobra CB? Yeah, man, General Lee is like a company that took the platform and souped it up real big and sells it under their own brand. I think there's a couple of them that make similar radios. They're all based off the 29. Anamorphic Adam, robocaller or that Indian scammer telling you there is a problem with your computer. Yeah, we outsourced all our customer service to India, and that's another situation that probably needs to be dealt with someday. But at least that's bodies, not product. So it's a little harder to regulate stuff like that. Mike Miller saying censorship bites a hot dog. It does, man. It sucks big time, man. And it really pisses me off that so many people out there just like, as long as you're silencing my enemy, I think it's a great idea. Well, it's like the dumbest, most short-sighted stuff on earth, man. Whatever. Anyway, Morgan Russman, yeah, Eric, you were mentioning that people producing answers and other things are offending for oneself. It's scary. Just compare 200 more years ago to now, and no one produces their food or any of that stuff. So, yeah, I agree with that 100%. And so that's kind of like, homesteaders and survivalists and preppers or whatever you want to call that whole genre of people. Like, and I don't know what people categorize me as. I consider myself a homestepper, but I'm also a bit of a prepper and a survivalist. I've shown you all my food stores, and certainly I have a crap ton of, self-defense weapons and stuff like that. But I think that's just being prepared and trying to keep the old ways so that if, last year we produced 50% of our food. 50%. I was 50% of the time I didn't have to eat it from a grocery store. I had it right here. So that's something I think everyone needs to be doing. We don't need lawns, we need gardens. So. Marky Shaw, good day, man. Happy Memorial Day. Agreed on the cell phones and its addictive behavior for sure. Taking too much info and not retaining it. I think sometimes my brain is low on RAM. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, Marky, I think your song went really well with that video I made of Grandfather Mountain, man. I think it just matched. It was just, once again, it kind of like fit the mood perfectly. But always good to hear from you, my friend. Mike Miller, where did you get your Citizen Press shirt? That came from, I can't say it, AJ, the most censored man on the internet. That ought to lead you to where it goes. Go to his site. I don't know if he still has them available, but the most censored man on the internet, the person that's been unpersoned by everyone and everything, that is where I got that shirt, man. So Jason Kane, Marky Shaw, happy Memorial Day, brother. Yeah, still singing that Farpoint Forum song. Dude, that sticks in the brain like crack. I love it. Vegan driver, I learned to diagnose cars on a 1988 Plymouth Reliant. Always checked all fluids, then counted the flashing light and went to my book. That's it. That's what we had. The that was the way it was, man. And then, you go from there, man. Marcus Shaw saying, awesome. You too, my friend. Haha, man, it's catchy. It sure is, man. I've got it. I put it in my wife has an MP3 player in her car, and I put it on there, and she cusses me out every time it comes up because once it's in, it's in. I mean, it's stuck in her head. You'll see people humming it at work and stuff, man. It's awesome. Next Gen After Tactics. Have you heard of a YouTube channel called Serpentaza? He covers the whole shipping unfairness. No, but I'll definitely check that. Because that's, it's obvious, but it's obvious, but somebody higher up thinks it's a great idea, man. John Mark says, hey Eric, my dad has the new ICOM 7300 ham radio. Keep hearing awesome things about it. That's the SDR, like computer-based ham radio, man. Incredible piece of equipment, and if it holds up as well as it looks like it will, it's going to be something else, man. Yeah, ICOM 7300, man. I'll tell you what. Jordan B says, check out his video on how China is ripping off Africa big time. It is kind of interesting, and I haven't been following it, but China is definitely moving hard into Africa, and I wonder what the end game is there. But I guess, like all superpowers, they have to influence certain areas in order to stay relevant, so I'm sure that's part of it, man. Old school break out the Haynes repair manual and scratch your head. Dude, that's the way it was, man. You look at the specs and you try to figure out what's going on. Blazing Spikes got a good point here. Some of the truck drivers don't use CB for knowing what's up ahead of them. I've seen them so many pileups. Yeah, so CB it's really weird, man. But there is like a lot of folks that they're just turning them off, man. I've had a few trips where there's been a traffic jam. I've turned it on. There's 50 trucks in the traffic jam, and only 3 of them are chatting. And it just makes you wonder what these guys, and I don't know if it's young guys, old guys, or every guy, but it makes you wonder what the heck, what are they doing, man? What are you doing? So, I don't know, man. That's kind of weird. So that's just another weird trend that I think, again, they're stuck on their cell phones, man. But their cell phone's not going to tell them what the pileup ahead is about. CB will tell them that. So, guys, I got to wrap this up fairly soon. I've had a great time. We're about an hour and a half in. I actually meant to only go an hour, but over the summer, I'm going to be doing more of these. We're going to do more on the Midnight Cafe, obviously, and for those of you out here who like the channel, I want to say thank you so much for continuing to support it. The channel continues to grow, which blows me away. I don't know how, but about every month I gain another 100 or 200 subscribers, which is really cool. Matter of fact, this like a month ago, I actually got a pretty decent check. By decent, I mean it was over $100 from YouTube. So $100, that's a lot of money for something like this. So I'm impressed. I want to thank each and every one of you. Next year, I am going to go to Rars Fest, Ham Fest again down in Raleigh, and I want to invite anybody who wants to fly, drive, or I don't know, take a train down or a bus down to join me there, and we'll do lunch. So that's it, and it's going to be on me because we'll take that $100 bill and maybe a couple other $100 bills if we get lucky, and stash them away, and we'll use it to buy everyone a lunch there at Rars Fest. So I hope I can meet up with some more of y'all next summer. And it's just been a blessed year for me here at the farm. And health problems aside, the videos keep coming and the good news keeps coming. Always a lot of changes going on here at the farm. Every time something changes, we just adapt, right? So Plan A doesn't work, Plan B is always in the works, man. We're going to be there's always something cooking at Farpoint Farms. The Poor Man's Cookbook is going to be coming up. So I hope you all get a kick out of that. Even if you're not huge cooking fans, maybe you'll get a laugh seeing the old man here in the kitchen. And yeah, that's about it, man. If you have any requests for videos, please feel free to shoot me an email at the Farpoint Farms channel, and we'll be good to go, man. So let's see here. I'll read these last few, and then I'm going to log on out of here. Marcus Shaw saying, since he got into DMR, I've been hearing a lot of truckers with DMR hotspots in their cabs. Maybe not reporting traffic, just ratchet. Oh, really? See, I've got a DMR handheld, but it's so dead up here, I never use the thing. There is a DMR repeater, but I've got a bit of a learning curve with it, and I just haven't been able to really figure that one out. Blazing Spike, catch you later, brother. Hewlett Baker. Good to have you all around. David G, thanks for the live feed. Hope everything is good, man. I'm good, man. I'm gonna go. I got more work to do. Unfortunately, I've probably got 2 or 3 hours left to go. But have a good one, Marky Shaw. Have a good one, Miller. And always good to see you, Vegan Driver, and listening. And appreciate all of you very much. And well, I'll see you next time. Take care.